he faded away. She almost got away with it, but a very suspicious coroner asked for a look, if you like, a re-examination, and they discovered, yes, that he'd got arsenic in his veins. The sad thing for the lady was that her lodger didn't love her one little bit. It was all wasted effort, and so she went to the gallows. But the reports say that she was very calm in her last days, waiting to go out and see the crowd, and she was very contrite, and that she actually met her end very bravely. And that's not always the case with people who are suddenly going to be executed. When the mind suddenly says, sorry, death is here, it's knocking on the door, and in a few minutes you'll be let through that trapdoor. Well, anyway, so there are downsides to Lewes as well. It's got a lovely river, the River Ouse, and one of the things that happens in the summer is we have a raft race. It wends the river wends about 6 miles from here, down through the town, through the lovely countryside, down to New Haven, which is a port on the south coast of Britain. At one time, perhaps the most important port in the whole of the United Kingdom. No longer so, but it is still an active port, and it has ferries and cargo ships, and it is still considered to be a port town. And that's where the raft race ends. But the rafts are put together by various organisations, charitable organisations, and the brave souls get on board, and they're likely to sink quite often, not very far after the start of the race. But some get through and make it down to New Haven, and those that do are pelted all the way, both by their competitors and by people on the shore, with flour bombs and eggs and all sorts of things. It's quite a jolly day, and it brings out quite a lot of people. It's a nice day. It's one of those things to sit on the bank and really enjoy yourself. And so the raft race, which I think takes place in either the end of this month or the beginning of next, will that take place? I've got a feeling that perhaps we're going to be denied an awful lot, even though lockdown is easing and there are fewer deaths from contravirus. I say contravirus, coronavirus. And there's another sad thing, because when I was a kid, if you wanted a Corona, you were asking for a pop, a fizzy drink. And Corona was a very, very popular brand. And you could get Corona in cherry, dandelion and burdock, apart from the usual lemonade, etc. So it's an unfortunate choice of words, as far as I'm concerned, Corona, for that, because I hear Corona and I think fizzy pop as a boy. Great memory. Anyway, those are the meanderings of a young man of 80 this morning. It is 18 minutes past 7. And one of the things about being as old as I am is I can talk freely about people who are famous during my lifetime, and I see that the glazed look of even sort of reasonably mature people is they've never heard of these people. But one of the things that I always found very funny was Jack de Manio was a very famous BBC DJ. They didn't call them DJs in those days, they were presenters or whatever, announcers even. But de Manio had the breakfast show, and he was well known for the fact that he could never get the date right. He could never ever get the time right. And so people would be getting up and they'd hear de Manio say, oh, it's 10 to 9, and they'd panic and start to brush their teeth or pull their knickers on or whatever they did just to get out to work, only to find out that he meant 10 to 7. He could never get it right, and he didn't deliberately do it. He wasn't trying to fool people. He just seemed to be a natural accident person. But he was very, very famous and very, very popular for a good many years. And when I say Jack de Manio to people of my age, they immediately know who I'm talking about. Anybody 70 and under looks blankly. You look him up, Jack de Manio. Always admired him as a DJ. And then there was Jack Jackson, who would do a sort of a top 10 pop thing on a Sunday morning. I've used the coughs button again, and I've done it reasonably well. And he discovered a record which I've played over the years, and I really must see if I can find it. Because it was a little Chinese lady, and the track was called Rose, Rose, I Love You. Rose, Rose, I love you. Dee, 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 dee. Okay, I won't wretchedly sing the thing to death. But she sang it in Chinese, and he played it every Sunday. And it became a byword in the streets. You could hear everybody humming this song. Da, 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 da. And it was done with a sort of a deliberately Chinese background, and became top of the pops, if you like. And if I can resurrect it from somewhere, because I know it is around, I will play it. It's a delightful and charming piece. And it turned out that I can't remember the name of the lady who sings it, but she turned out to be charming as well, and won the hearts of everybody. And when you think that I'm talking about sort of 1947, 48, 49, you'll realise that in post-war Britain things were very different, and for this young lady to win the hearts of the British public, particularly since we tended to be suspicious of anybody overseas at that particular stage, she did very well, very well. So keep an ear open for it. Rose, Rose, I Love You. And it's just a terrific, terrific track. Well, let's do a de Manio. It's 7:21. How long have we been on the air? We've been on the air 22 minutes and 6 seconds. Now, I talked about computers. And let me tell you straight away that Rouser Radio is part of Mirador Media. Mirador Media runs Mirador Television on Roku and on our website, miradortelevision.com. Please tune in, because we are a channel. We are a channel, and we go constantly. You can get it video on demand. You don't have to listen to 4 or 5 hours of fresh stuff just to hear what you want to. You can get it also video on demand. But I do want to say that we are a channel, and you can dip in and out at any time. You can listen to 2 minutes, 5 minutes, an hour, whatever. And it's full of all sorts of different things. So that's Mirador Media, which does that. We also make documentaries, and one of our documentaries really hit the spot and has had millions of viewers up and down the UK. It's on the Together channel, which used to be called the Community channel. It's on the Together channel, and it garners quite an audience. And the people there have taken it for another 3 years, because they say it built slowly, but now there's a big demand for people to watch it. And it's called The Bloody Past of a Tiny Town. And I started off this broadcast this morning by saying all sorts of historical things happened here, and they did, and many of them were very, very bloody indeed. So there was more bloodshed on Lewes High Street than you can shake a stick at, if that's not a whateverism. And I would invite you to find that documentary. You can find it on Mirador Television, but find it and watch it, because I think that you'll be intrigued by it, to say the least. So, Rouser Radio, we make documentaries, and we run Mirador Television on Roku and on our own website. When I say our own website, it also goes out on all the major social media outlets, YouTube, Facebook, even little bits of it on Instagram. But yes, we try hard to bring to you a mix of comment, history, social custom. Good old Jack, I bet you he got his tongue stuck in a few words too. Social custom and lifestyle. So do try and find us. And that's what Rouser Radio is all about. That's where we're part of. and we're on for an hour each morning at 7 o'clock in the weekdays, and then we're distributed all over the place. But I started off because of computers, and I'm really very upset with our main broadcast outlet is Spreaker, and I'm very upset at Spreaker because they've reduced our where we are in their standard broadcast and where we can go to and what we can do, simply because the computer, either at the bank, either at my bank or their computer, and my bank say it isn't them, rejected their payment for this month, which isn't much. I mean, I don't know, £15 or £20 or something. It's not a fortune. But I've written to them 3 times now and said, look, not our fault, Gov. Contact me and we'll get it paid. Have they done it? No. And you know why? Because the computer takes in their emails, the computer sends out their demands, the computer does this, that and the other. And it's only when there's an exception to the rule do people come into it. And it's quite obvious that the people at Spreaker, nice though their system is, and I have no other fight with them, but they do not read their emails because the computer doesn't read them if they don't sort of come back in a FAQ. Is it FAQ? Yeah, FO. Anyway, questions that will help you. And as a consequence, I'm now having a row with them. And how how silly, because of a bloody computer. I know it's such a petty matter. But that is our life. And when we come back, I'm going to talk to you about my attempts to contact my MP, my attempts to contact Boris Johnson, all of whom have been thwarted by you guessed it, a computer. Oh, well, here's one that will really liven us up. Let your body rock. Wow, here we go then. Got me going this morning. Doesn't get you out of bed, nothing will. What I want to play at 7:28 of a Monday morning, June the 1st. A marking point, lockdown being eased a little bit, only a little bit. There are still problems, there are still dangers, and of course these things apparently have really go for a second strike, or a second spike as they call it, and those are the things that we really have to be wary of. So even though it feels as if we're getting out of jail, running around and throwing our arms around people and sort of saying, hey, welcome back, etc., etc., is still a danger. So be careful how you behave. We're not over it yet. Some school children are expected to go back today. How many, I don't know. But we need to be cautious.